Hello, Ken Krager here from Black Swan Financial. I decided to redo my in the beginning video. I kind of rambled a little bit. So anyway, this is a video about basically our life's journey with Addie and having a child in our family that has special needs. Some things are kind of specific to Down syndrome. But anyway, let me get the disclaimer out of the way. Everything on this website or in any of these videos is meant to be for educational and informational purposes only, and nothing is to be taken as investment advice. So it's just educational. And so just to talk a little bit about our journey, in 2002, we found out that we were going to have a little baby girl, and it was a little bit of a surprise. It was a little bit later in our lives, and we found out because we were a little bit older. Of course, they did some genetic testing. We were in California, and they told us that our little girl had Down syndrome. And so then it's really kind of a sad situation. The only advice that we really got from the medical community in California was to get an abortion, but for us that just wasn't going to be an option. And it's really sad that they don't really tell you that there are plenty of families out there that would adopt a baby with Down syndrome. There are homes people would just love to take them in. So anyway, we ended up having to get a new doctor, and then of course a million things go through your mind. You're worried. What is Down syndrome? Then you start doing a lot of research, right? And Google. I can't remember if there was Google back 20 years ago or not. So then we just started to try to find out information, and we find out that a lot of children with Down syndrome have physical issues when they're born, and so we get worried about physical issues. And then there's going to be intellectual disability, cognitive delay. What does that mean? And it's really, in those early years, it was really all about just trying to raise a baby and a young child with Down syndrome. And low muscle tone and stuff like that. Actually, one of the things that was kind of scary, we were in the hospital quite a bit in the winter, it seems like, with respiratory things. Her airway was really, really narrow, and she would get a respiratory illness or whatever. And then we ended up in the emergency room a couple of times, and she had to get steroids and stuff and inhaler. I guess one time a doctor told me that her airway was, only a little bit bigger than a straw, basically. And so, dealing with that, I mean, I don't think she was really any sicker than my other two kids. So I have two older kids. Addie and the next is 10 years apart. So in some ways, it's kind of like she's grown up as an only child. Her siblings are married and have kids of their own, and so she loves being an aunt. And so in the early years, she starts school when she was 3. And so now starts the IEPs and everything, dealing with the state. One of the things that you really need to do early on, especially if the disability is not obvious, children with autism, some other, maybe they got some brain damage when they were getting born or whatever. Whatever the cause is, you have to ask yourself a hard question about whether or not you think your child is going to be able to function fully, independently, 100% independent as an adult. Are they going to be able to get transportation or drive? Can they get a driver's license? If not, can they get transportation? Socially, emotionally, physically, and economically, are they going to be able to be 100% independent? And that's not to say that our other kids can necessarily be 100% independent, but things are different because now if there's dependency, then that means you probably need to work with the state and get designated as a disability so that you can get benefits, right? So right now, Addie is on our medical plan, but when we retire, and especially when we're gone, Addie, you know, she has her disability benefits from the state, so she's on Medicaid and has SSI, supplemental security income. When me or my wife retire, uh, she's going to get half of our Social Security, which is going to be almost twice as much as her SSI. So that's a strategy to think about. But when she was young, you got to get that designation and start getting those benefits, because she's going to need them later in her life. And so now you start learning the ropes, and you get involved in communities and groups of people, other families that have children with similar disabilities. Get involved in the disability community and try to contribute and help out other people. We've helped out. We've talked to a lot of people over the years. They have a new baby, and we met somebody at an activity that Addie was at recently, and they had a young boy with Down syndrome. I think he was about 5, and he was just getting ready to start school, and they didn't know what to expect, and they had concerns. And where should we go to school? And actually, we moved Addie 3 different times in schools. So early on, just health, just raising your child, and you find out that typically they're children just like other children, and there's depending on the severity and the type of disability, there might be a significant burden to take care of your loved one. But all I can say is it was worth it. So in the beginning, that's what it was like. It was stressful, and it was challenging, and it's been challenging for 20 years. So thanks for joining. That's a little bit of my story and the story of ItsMeAddye. She has her own YouTube channel, and hopefully we're going to get a little business set up for her. So look for ItsMeAddye. That's what she always likes to say. It's me, Addye. And I need to get a video with her in it so we could do an intro. Thanks a lot. We'll see you later.